this was like a standard Sunday feast menu. There'd be there'd be at least a couple of different kinds of rice, pushpanna and white rice, and maybe at least 2 or 3 different kinds of rice. They'd have a wet sabji and a dry sabji at least. There would be very often that cauliflower and potatoes in, wet, which, as Prabhupada taught, and always samosas, and samosas meant cauliflower and pea samosas, cooked dry only, cooked dry and spicy. And pakoras, there'd be at least a couple of different kinds of pakoras, and they'd have puris, white puris, those, what are they called, luchis, and there'd be, halab, we haven't gotten that far. Then there'd be different kinds of, like, save, noodles and things like that, and a few different kinds of chutneys, like a plum chutney and an apple chutney and a raisin chutney and a pineapple chutney. There'd be 2 or 3 different kinds of chutneys, and then there'd be different kinds of sweets, simply wonderfuls, halava, sweet rice always, and gulab jamuns. Yeah, people were jolly, yeah. Yeah, no wonder people, I mean, you'd have to be nuts not to join. Yeah, this was the Sunday feast. It was not a small thing. And at one point, actually, I remember many years later, there were, book distribution was a big thing, and Prabhupada said that, they could leave 1 packet person back at the temple. And some place the managers started getting the idea that the feast should be cut down and they should have like 4 preparations or 5 preparations so that like 1 person could do it and everybody else could go out and distribute books. And Prabhupada wrote a very specific letter about that and said, no, it should be opulent. And it shouldn't be, just 1 or 2 or 3 things 1 person could do, but our feast program should go on full strength.
Prabhupada rang his bell from his desk, and his servant came in. This is just an example of the strength of Prabhupada's mood. So the servant was supposed to do something that they had neglected to do. I can't remember what that something was. And Prabhupada's mood shifted just drastically from this very sharing with the devotees happily about the art and appreciating their service, and he became very, very strong with this. What was going on, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a whole background to neglect or something. Prabhupada was so strong. The devotee came in, paid obeisances, reported something. Prabhupada was so firm with him. The mood of everybody in the room became so silent in response to Prabhupada's mood. And as soon as he left, Prabhupada withdrew that anger and was again perfectly under control. Not that the anger controlled him, but he was instructing his disciple with the use of that mood to stay properly situated in his devotion. And one other thing, just a little cultural point. As Prabhupada writes, he also does. Any situation that I was ever in with Prabhupada where persons would come for darshan or something, without fail there was always some arrangement for prasadam distribution. Even if it was something very simple. Sometimes cut fruit, sometimes macadamia nuts. He would have his servant stay in the door, and I remember Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj describing the same thing in another time. But Prabhupada was so conscious of little things, cultural points, that as Western devotees, if we have the right philosophy but the wrong behavior, we still feel justified. But Prabhupada was teaching in every respect about the culture of Krishna consciousness also.